All right, so we're now at the point in time where we can actually start creating our characters. Now that we've set the configuration in Leonardo AI, we can go ahead and look at the characters that we have in our story script and see if we can bring them to life. So the first one here, as you can see, the main character really is Leo, but we do have two other characters, really three, including the narrator. So we have Leo, Maya, Ben, and the narrator. Those are our four characters. We're going to start with Leo because he's the main character. As you recall, Leo is that young man. He's adventurous and he's the one that starts exploring the forest, right? Then later he meets his new friends. So with the case of Leo and all the characters, ChatGPT did not provide any descriptions of their physical looks. So we're going to make all of that up, okay? So I'm going to identify Leo as a young man, adventurous. I'm going to pick a hair color. Let's go with something different. So I'll say dark red hair, for example. And I'll say between the ages of like 18 to 21 or maybe 18 to 20, for instance. Okay. And that's it. Let's go ahead and generate images for our first character, the main character, which is Leo. So I'm going to go to Leonardo AI. Okay, once I'm here, as aforementioned, I've already set all my configurations. I'm going to enter the following prompt. Generate an image of a young, adventurous man with dark red hair and you can say a medium build. So not too tall, not too short. And then any other features that you want to add, you can add that here. I think it's important to mention something like this that will be used in a 3D animated video. Okay. And that's pretty much it for now. You don't want to mention the young man in any specific location. And then at this point, we're just going to add the age. His age is between, say, 18 to 20 years old. And that's sufficient. So we don't want to mention any other details like where he is or what he's doing. We just want images of Leo in this case. So we're going to go ahead and click on generate. And it takes a couple of seconds and then it'll give you images of Leo. So here we have it, a few images of Leo, our main character for the story. I think something like this would probably be the best fit because it gives different angles and it has like a main picture of the character. But it's always good practice when you're dealing with AI to try at least one or two times in addition to your first attempt. So we're going to go ahead and generate again, and it won't hurt. It's only going to give you more results and just more options to select from so you can pick your best bet. All right, so here's a few other options. This one is pretty good also. I like this one as well. So that one looks pretty good. We might actually end up going with this one. But again, it's always good to just try one or two more times. So we're going to try once more. All right. So we have another option here. So this is yet another option. So we can either go, for instance, with this one, or we can go with this one, or we can go with this one. I think these are probably the three best that we've generated. So I'm going to go ahead and download all three for now, and then later make a determination as to which one I want. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can also select this one actually too. This one is not too bad. So let's go ahead and take it and later reassess. But I like this one because it shows full body. In any case, we'll make those decisions later. Let's just grab them for now. So we'll download the ones that we want. We'll organize them in a folder and we'll move on to the next character. Okay, great. So the next character is Maya. Let's go back to the story script. So Maya is known to be a clever girl in the story. Okay, so the ages of all the characters are meant to be somewhere in the young adult range. So again, somewhere between the ages of 18 to 20 is sufficient for the story here. So Maya is someone who seems happy, she's clever, and so on. So we're going to, again, identify some specific features of how she looks like, and we're going to create Maya as a character. So let's go back. And I can just fill in the details here. So I can just kind of change a few things. So generate an image of a young, clever, and this time I'm going to say woman. And this time I'm going to say, instead of dark red hair, I suppose I'll say dark blonde hair. We can keep a medium build, that's fine. That will be used in a 3D animated video. We can keep all that the same. And we're just going to say her age is between 18 to 20 years old. So as you can see, I just changed a couple of things for our next character. We're just going to go ahead and see what it gives us. All right, so there we go. So here is an image of Maya. This one is pretty good. Let's take a look at some alternatives. So let's try running again. Again, it's a good idea to do at least 2 or 3 times for each character. So we're going to go ahead and give it another attempt. All right, so we have another option here. I think out of these, probably this might be okay. Maybe this one. So you don't just want the face to show. You want sort of a mixture of close up and full body as much as possible. So this one actually is fairly ideal. We're gonna go ahead and just give it one more shot. Okay, and here's another option for us. So I think this one's pretty good. Let's go ahead and download this one. And again, later we'll select our options. Later we'll select our final choice. I thought this one was excellent, so we're gonna go ahead with that. And perhaps this one. Okay, so that should suffice for Maya. So now we have one more character plus the narrator. So let's go back to our script. All right, so we have Ben, and Ben seems to be someone who is brave. He's in a cave. All right, he's facing a challenge in a cave. There's a wild animal in here. He seems to be someone who can take on a challenge in a cave. So that's a big deal. Not anyone can do that, right? So in that case, let's go ahead and make Ben someone brave. So generate an image of a young, brave man with, and we're just going to say with brown hair. And we're going to say a tall build. So we're going to make him tall. Okay, just so he can be differentiated from Leo. That will be used in a 3D animated video. That's all the same. And we're just going to say his age is between 18 to 20 years old. And we're going to go ahead and generate that. All right, so we just completed the generation of Ben. And here we are. This seems to be a pretty cool image of Ben. Definitely a taller build. He looks like he would be fit to take on a challenge in a cave. So I think this already is good. We're going to go ahead and try to generate one more. There's also some close-ups of him. So let's go ahead and try one more here. All right, here we go. So I kind of like this one. I think it might fit the script a little better. But anyway, let's go ahead and download this. And we'll also take some of the other ones that we have here. So I think that's not the proper attire for someone in a forest, so we're not going to go with that. So you do need to use some common sense, obviously, when you're doing this. So now that we have all of those images for our 3 main characters, we're going to go ahead and try to get an image for our narrator. So going back to the story script, the narrator can be really anyone whom you identify. And honestly, the narrator does not have to be shown, but for the purpose of the video animation that I'm looking to create, I do want to show the narrator. I think it would be pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and just make it a specific character. So I'm going to choose an older character this time. So I'm going to say generate an image. So say a middle-aged man, and we're going to say with light brown hair that will be used, and you're going to specify as a narrator in a 3D animated video. And his age is between, in this case, we're going to say 40 to 45. And we're going to go ahead and generate this. All right, there we go. So here we have a narrator, and this might work good enough. So this is a pretty good example. I can go with this, for instance, as our narrator, or I can go with this one as well. One of these should do the job. Perfect. All right, so that's how you create the images for your main characters. What you want to do at this point is take all of those files and organize them in a folder, and I'll show you the final look of that in the next video lesson. And then we'll start taking the next steps to implement these images to the video generation programs that we'll be integrating.